Hi there, I've got a card that uses the country collection as a pretty aperture with our daisies today. So I'll run you through what we'll be using. I have the delightful sentiments for our sentiment that we have on the card. Here are the delightful daisies from our finishing touches. I'm just going to be using the little swirls from the beaded StarFlower. I'm making a pretty border with the Trellis edger. I've got one of the striped nasturtiums as a floral element on the card. And the aperture is being done with the Bora Bora as well as the Fiji. So I'll show you how that's done. And we're going to be doing a little bit of embossing with the Jacobean floral embossing folder. It's an A4 sized embossing folder from Creative Expressions. Pop that in there. So what I've done so far is I've started with a piece of Aqua card, and I'll give you a quick measurement on that. It is 5 1/8 by just a little over 6 1/2. I've taken the outer cutting edge from the Bora Bora, this one here, and I've cut an aperture in it. So next what we're going to do is bring in our embossing folder, pop that down, and we're going to do some embossing. So I'm going to put my aperture inside the folder, and let me just double check that. I tell you what, I want to turn that around so that side is up, and we will run it through. The sandwich is the raspberry adapter plate. Okay. So you can see there's a gorgeous emboss with that folder. Isn't that pretty? Love the way that looks. Now, what I've done is I've cut a second aperture using the Fiji center there, and I've done a little bit of a border with both the Fiji and the Bora Bora outline there just to fill in this section. So I'm going to go ahead and add this with a bit of glue. Get that going. There we go. All the way around. And we're going to just pop that right over that. Just feed it into place with that aperture. So we'll have a nice smooth area around the embossing that's been cut with the double frames there in the white. Okay. Now I've added a bit of mounting foam to the back of that. We're going to come back to it in just a few minutes. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to create a background. I've stamped my Your Special to Me in a black Archival, and I'm just going to hand cut a little bit of a cloud stencil. Just some rounded, puffy areas here. Completely random. There we go. That'll work just perfectly for what I want. I'm going to use some Adirondack Aqua ink and a smoothie. And I'm just going to offset it. And since this part down here won't show first, I'm going to test my ink just to see if I've got it too light, too dark. That's quite dark. So I'm just going to pop it off and work through this to lighten up the ink a little bit. There we go. Bring in some clouds around the top. A little bit of an ink around there. Just keep moving it about, creating kind of a very light sort of cloud pattern on the background here that will show through. There we go. Just keep moving it. I don't want to get it too heavy around my sentiment, but enough color that it will show. There we go. And you can even turn it, use the other side if you want to bring it in a little bit differently. There we go. Just move it around. I think that gives it a nice look there. So you can see what I've got towards the top of the card here is a nice little cloud pattern going in my background. Okay, so take that and we're going to seat that right over the edge. So I'm just going to peel off my mounting foam. Get that started. In fact, I'll do all of those. Just sort of center that up towards the top corner, but so it shows in the aperture opening. And I've gone ahead and cut the delightful daisies out of white. So I've got quite a few of them here. So I've a tiny little piece of mounting foam to raise up the very top head on that. And we're going to add a little glue around the bottom. we're just going to tuck those into our aperture. And I want this first one to kind of come off the edge there on our card. And then we'll do the same here with the bottom, put a little glue on there. Tiny bit of mounting foam behind the flower head. Pop that on right underneath that. Just a little bit overlapping, ever so slightly. Put this one on next. A little bit of glue on the back, we'll tuck that underneath. Like that, and we'll just put a little glue on the back of this small one and put it in there flat. Really nice. So now I've got the daisies coming out of my aperture, and we're going to add a border. So the next thing I want to do is bring in the trellis edger, and I'm going to use these two pieces together. And I've got a piece of white card, and I've already cut this pretty much to size, which is 5 inches by 1.5 inches. So what I want to do is line the decorative piece up to the edge there and put this one below it. Now there's no cutting edge top and bottom on this, so I'm going to use the edge of the card as the bottom part of this border and just center it. Pop that right next to it, tape them into place. Get them on there nice and straight. Bring back my cutting mats. Pop that down. Go. Take our tape off. And the second piece right here. Okay. There we go. Put that back onto our mat. Let's just tidy that off to the side. So you can see a really nice border there already cut. And let me just nip out this little end piece here. Ever so slightly. There we go. So what I'm going to do is back the center of that with a white on white backing. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue, top and bottom. And then you can just put a couple little drops in between on some of the trellis-y parts. I'm going to line that up just behind that part. Oops, get a hold of it there. There we go. So I've got a nice border there, and I just want to put a pearl right in the center there. So I've used half of the double strip of pearls, cut it in half. Got a little teeny strip of them, 5 inches long, and we will pop that down. Oops, get that started right there. Put that on all the way across. I've added a bit of mounting foam to the back. So we'll put that across the bottom of our card. About like that. And I'm going to bring in my embellishments here. So I've got the nasturtium done in the aqua and white already. I have a little, what I call a messy bow done out of some white satin ribbon, the thin 1/8 inch. I'll pop that onto the edge of that. Get our little tails going down there, and there we go. Put our flower on like that. And let me get my base piece out. Pop that into place. Now I've done my piercing on the white and then brought in a little bit of the aqua matte to tie that all in. Put that right into place like that. And give that flower just a little bit of forming. Tiny bit of dimension. And we're going to use the last little swirly bits here coming off the edge as an accent. There we go. Right under. And you've got a very, very pretty aperture card using the double aperture and all your embossing. I think that looks lovely together.